everybody, this is the new Van Show. That's right, we're going inside the studios of our favorite authors and illustrators to find out what inspires them. Today, we've got Andrew Smith. Say hi, Andrew.
Hi, Van.
Hey, so how you doing out there in California?
Oh, we're doing pretty well. It's a beautiful place to live. It's springtime. The air is fresh. There's a lot of flowers on the hills out here, and things are doing good. How are you doing back there, Van?
I'm doing all right here in Austin, Texas. You know, we're keeping it Texas tough as usual. So Andrew, this is your studio, I'm assuming. Is that right?
This is my office.
Wow.
This is my little corner of the office where I do video chats or talk to students right here in the upstairs of my house, looking out at the Angeles National Forest out the window out there. My backyard, I have my horses back there, and my backyard, there's nothing behind us. We can walk out the backyard right up into the mountains of the Angeles National Forest.
Wow.
So, I've been social distancing here for 23 years now. Uh, there's only a couple hundred people who live up here, and we're 20 miles away from even the closest grocery
Do you have
store.
a little desk that you usually do your writing on, or do you like to type your? I mean, what type of process do you like to do for your writing?
But most of all of my writing is done right here in this little office room, and most of it's done on my desktop.
Okay, but you're not tied to a specific medium. I know some authors they'll only use a certain type of typewriter, or they'll only use yellow legal pad and Ticonderoga pencils or whatever it is. Um, but that's not as important to you, I'm assuming, as just being able to sit somewhere and type.
And definitely, and get the ideas down because sometimes I even do it on my phone. And so yeah, it's not. I'm definitely not stuck to or attached to any one particular form of media as far as getting the words down.
Awesome. So Andrew, I was wondering, do you ever get writer's block?
You know, when you've been doing this for a long time and when it's your job, you have to look at it as a job. Thankfully, my doctor doesn't get physician's block, and the firefighters who work so hard up here, they don't get firefighter's block because they have a job to do, and their job is kind of like their calling. And so I kind of look at it that way. Now, there are definitely days when doctors and firefighters don't really feel like getting out of bed, and it's more of a slog than other days. And writing is like that too. But I still think that you can kind of like get your way through it if you approach it with that kind of mindset that this is my calling, this is what I do. And again, sometimes things are easier than others. Right now, to quote my friend Dan Kraus, it's kind of like the faucets opened up, and I'm feeling really good about writing, and so the words are coming pretty easily right now.
Excellent. Wow. So on those days when you're feeling that slog,
Mhm.
and you're sitting down in front of the computer, and you're like, I'm got to work. That's my job. I've got to put the words down on paper. Is there something you do, like if you're in the middle of a story, say, and you got nothing that day?
Yeah.
Do you put that aside and just start writing something else just so you're writing?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a couple of things that I do. I'm okay with giving myself a break, just like people should be if they're not feeling well. You shouldn't feel guilty if you lie down and rest for a while. And your brain definitely needs rest from time to time. So, while I don't really like to work on creating two multiple different projects at the same time, so if I am feeling a little bit kind of bogged down, or the words aren't coming so easily, a couple things that I like to do are I like to pick up something new and start reading something new that I haven't gotten into before. Because I get a lot of inspiration by reading other writers and seeing what they do and thinking about, what was this person doing on the other side of this page when these words were coming out. The other thing too is that again, because of where I live, I'm so lucky. And I'd love to go outside. I've already been outdoors for a couple of times, up several miles up in the hills today. And so getting outside, taking my dogs out there with me, or going out for a jog, all of these things are good ways of kind of clearing your head. Or a lot of times when I go on a jog, I'll just be thinking about this one point where I left off, and I know that that on the course of my run, I know that I'm going to come up with like a door that opens, that gives me some kind of an insight into where is the next step in this journey that I'm trying to describe.
Yeah, that's absolutely. I do the same thing when I'm feeling stuck. I take myself out of it completely. If I'm doing a video, or if I'm writing or doing art, if I'm stuck, I stop and I take a walk. You're right, or I go play with my cat. I do something completely unrelated to take my mind off it, and I always find the inspiration while I'm not thinking about it.
That's totally the way. That's the way to do it. That's sage advice for all Van's listeners out there.
Well, I'm just translating English to English. Now, I did want to say one more thing about what you said, though, that I found really important, is that you said sometimes when you're stuck, you'll read instead of write. And
Hmm.
I think that's something that a lot of writers and other artists, especially young artists, kind of forget, is that a big part of writing or making art is appreciating other people's writing and art, and doing the reading, looking at pictures, watching other videos. That's where you can find inspiration too, because you're not alone. You're not building something from scratch. You're standing on the shoulders of giants.
You've got to do that.
I see you got a lot of books behind you. I wonder who wrote those.
You know, I've got my books behind me. Hey, I've got this here. This is coming out in October. This is my next middle grade. Bye bye Blue Creek.
Oh, awesome.
It's the sequel. It's the next story in Sam Abernathy's saga that started with The Size of the Truth. So that's coming out in October.
Andrew, thank you so much for inviting us into your studio and sharing your tips for inspiration with us. I,
Always a pleasure, Van.
I,
Always a pleasure.
Goodbye.
Bye.